Chapter 16.
Houston'sEagle.com.
He entered the abandoned restaurant, the place where he'd fallen in love for the first time, learned the value of a good day's work, and to always be true to himself, no matter the consequence to others. Mr. Moretti taught him how to be a man, how to treat a woman, and the value of integrity. He gave Cam a place to go every day after school, a place to hide from his father. While there, he learned to bake cheddar biscuits, pecan pie, and the secret to Mr. Moretti's infamous eggplant parmesan. For the last 2 weeks, Maggie had plagued Cam's daydreams, nightmares, and every hour in between. The woman had bewitched him. Damn her. He dreamed of them floating in a boat on a calm lake. She wore the same emerald bikini she wore the day he met her. He wanted to teach her to fish, but she refused to use live bait, so they used rubber worms, which ensured they wouldn't catch a thing all damn day. Maggie rested her rod and reel beside her, stretched her legs forward, and leaned back to bask in the sun. He crawled over her and pressed his body against hers, his mouth over hers. When she wrapped her legs around his waist, he rocked against her, the bulge in his jeans nudging the crotch of her skimpy bikini. She moaned and tilted her hips. The boat rocked in sync with their dry fucking. He pushed at her more forcefully, picking up his pace, thrusting the canoe into a clumsy rock. The boat tipped and tossed both of them into the water. When she emerged, he planted a kiss on her forehead. My little fireball. For the first time in his life, he was dreaming. He couldn't remember ever having a dream. Not a pleasant one anyway. His dreams weren't the only thing that had changed since the hike. He had burned 2 meals, another rarity for him. He hadn't burned a meal in years. Yesterday afternoon, he opened the refrigerator and found his keys on the top shelf, wedged between 2 long necks. Earlier today, he pulled the knob on the washing machine to start a load of laundry. The phone rang, and an hour passed before he remembered the laundry he'd started. The load had run a full cycle without a stitch of clothing inside. Cam was wrecked, and all because of his little hellcat. Cam approached a dusty wooden table and swiped his hand along the top. He had to get her out of his head, out of his heart. He needed a distraction. Cam asked his father to watch over Gramps so he could start the repairs on Copper Creek. For the next few hours, he swept, dusted, and cleaned windows. He chose a room in the back of the restaurant as Gramps' second living quarters, a place where Cam could keep an eye on Gramps and also manage the restaurant. After installing a flat-screen television, he muscled a black leather recliner and matching sleep sofa and positioned them along adjacent walls, then set an oak coffee table in front of the sofa. Tomorrow, he'd fill the compact refrigerator with cranberry juice, milk, bananas, and homemade potato salad. And of course, plenty of peanut butter, bread, and fresh fruit. Hey! Standing in the doorway, Jags wore a pink, shaggy housecoat and red and blue striped tube socks. Green goo covered his face, and pink curlers draped low from his long hair. Are you serious? Critters is having a Halloween party tonight. Cam snickered. I got a surprise for you. AJ! Yep, I was just about to leave to go pick him up at the airport. Don't suppose you'd mind going for me? I got some stuff I'd like to finish up. He'd give anything to see the expression on AJ's face when he sees Jags. Heck yeah! Jags turned to leave but hesitated. Our brother is coming home. Only for a week. You better make a trip to the liquor store. Goes without saying.
You are at Terminal C. Hold on to the handrail. Your next stop will be Terminal D and E.
Usted se encuentra en la terminal C. Al darle la baranda de apoyo, la parada entre la terminal D y E.
AJ stepped through the airport's double glass doors. A black duffel bag was slung over his shoulder. The ugliest woman he'd ever seen was running toward him. Holy shit. She was wearing a housecoat the color of Pepto and fuzzy slippers. She neared, and he cringed at the sight of her face covered in some kind of green lotion. AJ glanced at the people behind him, but none of them seemed to recognize this woman. Only a few feet away, he recognized this hag as his crazy stepbrother. With both feet off the ground, Jags vaulted at him, but AJ stepped to the side. Jags turned and chased him down. What's up, buddy? He gripped AJ's forearm, but AJ shook him off. Are you for real? Not you too. It's a Halloween costume. I should hope so. Stay behind me and don't talk to me until we get to the truck. You gotta learn to loosen up. People are going to think we're lovers. Jags let out an abrupt laugh. Someday you may wake up beside someone who looks like this. The first time my wife wears anything more than a thong to bed will be the last, because I'll burn the additional garments the next morning. You're such a Neanderthal. AJ stepped in the rotating door with an arm stretched out, barring Jags from joining him. If having a penis makes me a Neanderthal, then I guess I'm a Neanderthal. Approaching the airport parking lot, Jags slapped his brother on the back, causing him to stumble forward. It's really great to see you. It's good to be seen. AJ climbed into the passenger side of Jags's white F-350. Jag circled to the driver's side and slid behind the wheel. He shifted to reverse, glanced behind, and let his foot off the brake. The truck rolled backwards a few feet before Jag slammed on the brake and shifted to park. He snatched AJ's wrist and traced one of the many dime-sized scars on his left arm. The accident occurred 8 months ago, and every day since, AJ had dreaded this inevitable moment. He hated the weepy looks Jags always got when he or Cam was hurt, and he detested sympathy from him or anyone else. It's nothing. Can you be more specific? I was too close to an IED when it went off. When Jags nodded, the invisible board strapped to AJ's back disappeared, allowing his posture to sag to a more comfortable position. Jags shifted to reverse and left his foot off the brake. How much longer? AJ stared out his side window. Jags slammed the truck into drive, and that damn invisible board resurfaced. AJ? Did you re-enlist? AJ turned toward Jags. I'm not in the service anymore, but I'm still stationed in Iraq. For the past year, I've been working for a private security firm as a mercenary. Jags's brows lowered. Why did you lie? AJ glanced out the window. I guess I didn't think you'd approve. Probably because I wouldn't have. AJ looked at Jags. Why? Because it's too dangerous. No more dangerous than the U.S. military. Why do I find that hard to believe? Jags eyed him. What's up with the fatigues? They're not military issued. I wasn't sure I was going to tell you. I wore them for your benefit. Tell me some good stories. Tension eased as AJ told stories about his time in Iraq. Stories about practical jokes played on him, pranks he played on others, drinking binges, and football games they played in the desert heat and dry dirt. When they pulled into the barren Copper Creek parking lot, AJ pointed at the red Expedition. Cam's here? Should open in a month or two. Good for him. When AJ and Jags entered the restaurant, Cam slid from a booth and stood. AJ and Cam walked toward each other, their right hands raised over their heads. Their hands slapped and came back in a tight clasp. AJ glanced around. The booth cushions, dishware, and wallpaper were decorated in a unique shade of green. Not dark, but not light. He shrugged. I like it. For crying out loud. Jags wrapped his arms around both his brothers. Group hug. Their foreheads touched. Tonight, we celebrate. Our brother has returned to us, and all in one piece. Jags squeezed them tighter. Tonight, we get crazy. Tonight, we drink lots of alcohol, AJ said. I just have one request. Anything. Women. Lots of women. Jags winked. You got it. Maggie spent the last 2 weeks with her mind in a haze. If you tell me your secret, the events of the hike played over and over in her mind. He won't remember you 5 minutes from now. I'm not going to hurt you. Swimming in the pond, no woman can refuse chocolate. The feel of his body on her. You're so much better than that. Inside her. You're gonna come again. He hadn't called. Get on your hands and knees. Not even to play the friends with benefits card. Why did she care when she was the one who had pushed him away? She flopped onto the bed, face down, and let the tears come. Tears she'd successfully held back until now. Whoever it was could go to hell. A hand rubbed her back, and a familiar voice asked, "What's wrong?" Maggie turned from the pillow and saw Tilly's younger sister sitting on the edge of the bed. Star's long strawberry blonde hair was bald at the nape of her neck. Maggie groaned into her pillow. He hasn't called. Cam? Maggie turned on her side. Star gasped. I've never seen you cry. Maggie flipped back to her stomach, burying her face in her pillow. I'm pitiful. A little. Maggie sat up and wiped the tears from her face. What's wrong with me? Come on, get up. Star walked to Maggie's walk-in closet and shifted through the long row of blouses and skirts. There's no way I'm going out tonight. Star stomped back to the bed and sat down. Oh, no, you don't. You need a night out. Get your mind off of him. Look at me. I'm not going in public with a face like this. Star dragged her to her vanity in the corner of the room and ushered her into the chair. There's this neat little invention. It's called makeup. This may be beyond makeup. Got any spray paint? Nonsense. Star dabbed beige cream on her finger and rubbed the foundation in small circles under Maggie's eyes. When finished, she leaned back and examined her efforts. She winced. Maybe a little more. She rubbed more of the cream under Maggie's eyes, on her forehead, her chin, and cheeks.
Have you considered that you may not be hung up on him at all? I mean, in the years we've known each other, I can't remember when you've cried over anything, much less a man. Maybe this guy's just a challenge to your pride and nothing more.
Maggie glared at Star's reflection in the mirror.
It's not a pride thing.
She crossed her arms over her chest. Star crouched beside Maggie, staring at her curiously. Her eyes widened and her hand covered her mouth.
I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think you're in love.
She stood, picked an oval case off the vanity, and dabbed beige powder over Maggie's face.
Honey, welcome to the club. What club? The first heartbreak is always the worst.
Star handed Maggie the mascara.
I don't want to poke your eye out.
She stood behind with her hands resting on Maggie's shoulders.
The second and third heartbreaks aren't much better.
As Maggie applied the mascara, Star leaned down and whispered in her ear.
What you need is a boyfriend. Nothing serious, just someone to keep your mind off Cam.
Maggie finished applying the mascara and flung it on the vanity.
You're right. Damn straight.
Maggie walked to her closet and ripped a black silk blouse from its hanger.
Friends, what a crock. I'm just saying.
Maggie tore an emerald miniskirt from its hanger.
I could have any man in this damn town. I don't need him. And Maggie's back.
Maggie laid her clothes on her bed and picked her cell phone off the end table. As she dialed, she looked to Star.
Call Tilly. Tell her we'll be there in an hour. But what about Nate?
Maggie put up a finger, shushing Star.
Yes, hello. This is Maggie Stewart. I'm gonna need a limo for tonight. Yes, charge it to my account. Can you be here in 30 minutes? Great. Bye.
Star sighed.
When you rent a limousine, it usually means you plan on drinking to the point of unconsciousness, and we'll have to carry you home. Flex those muscles, girl. That's exactly the plan.